What the dude? Damn. Halloween crazy, man. I think Dracula was there and the Frankenstein monster. I thought I was done with that monster forever. God. Hopefully I don't see any more of those guys. That would suck. Ah, man. You know, the last video I made was a tie-in for that Frankenstein movie. But hey, it's out on Netflix now, which is awesome. I can't wait to watch it. But like, my main question is that like, what other movies are coming out? It's a theater talk. It's time for theater talk. We did Toon Talk last time. Time for theater talk. Been too long since the last theater talk, alright? Wait a minute. There's a new Shakespeare movie coming out soon. Alright, welcome to another theater talk and Toon Talk crossover, baby. Everybody knows who William Shakespeare is. You know, this sexy little bastard. Let's be honest, I don't need to tell you who William Shakespeare is because your annoying English professor who's way too into the Three Stooges already did. I mean, for fuck's sake, without Shakespeare, we wouldn't have this thing. Bye-bye. I beg you go. Bye-bye. On second thought, maybe Shakespeare was a bit of a mistake. Regardless, what can I say about William Shakespeare that hasn't been said already? He's still being celebrated in millions of classrooms and theaters to this very day. So, trying to pick just one show to represent his greatness would be stupid, and why is it always Hamlet? Which is why, completely against my own will, I'm going to be watching a very randomly selected Shakespeare adaptation of something that's not Hamlet. Back in the 90s, BBC had this series called Shakespeare, the Animated Tales. Each episode was based off of a different Shakespeare play. Such episodes included Hamlet, Julius Caesar's Romeo and Juliet, and The Tempest. But the subject of today's video will be... Okay, I just realized that I'm not actually recording this in a theater, so we're looking at the Macbeth episode. Okay, so full disclosure, I've never seen Macbeth, nor any other adaptation, so I decided to just read the little plot summary that Google gave me automatically, and that will be my understanding. Macbeth is a tragedy about a Scottish general who, driven by ambition and prophecy, murders a king to seize the throne. The play explored the correlative effects of power and guilt as Macbeth becomes a paranoid and tyrannical ruler, while his wife, Lady Macbeth, descends into madness. Ultimately, his reign of terror is ended by a nobleman named Macduff. In other words, Macbeth is kind of fucked up. And please, don't ask me why you can't say it in a theater. I've tried, but then my fucking balls got chopped off. So if I can kind of just break away from, like, the flow of the video just for just a little bit, I want to briefly mention a little story I have with Macbeth because it's very funny. So I was doing a production of Tick Tick Boom back in the spring. I shit you not, our stage manager actually said Macbeth backstage because the university that I went to was hosting a production of the show. And so add that on top of the show being put on there, and so naturally they said it quite a few times. When it came time for us to actually do our production of Tick Tick Boom, our lead ended up spraining his knee just a few short days before opening. And we had to reblock the entire show and remove the great majority of the choreography that we've all learned. And that's why you don't say Macbeth.
Yeah, I've been shitting the whole time.
So anyways, Macbeth is famously a very tragic story. However, do tragedies usually lend themselves when translated into the medium of animation? Well, let's just go ahead and pop in the old YouTube link and find out, shall we?
So you guys may be wondering now why specifically this version of Macbeth when there are like dozens upon dozens of other versions. Like for Christ's sake, there was one nominated for an Oscar a few years ago on Apple TV Plus that would have been way more famous to talk about. But instead I'm here talking about this dumb cartoon they aired on BBC in the 90s that I bet none of you ever cared about because it's fucking funny, that's why.
So, let's just get this out of the way. The animation looks fucking horrible. I mean, really? This is the best they could do? Like, I've watched clips from other episodes of this show, and they all look significantly better. Really, the biggest issue with the animation is just the general art style. The characters always look like they're just staring into nothingness and barely emote at all. Not to mention, their faces constantly disappear for really no reason. I don't know why. Artistic intent? Maybe. I don't know. It's very unclear. The fuck was that? The characters also move very weirdly. The run cycles look something that a human wouldn't do. Characters blend into the background. One character looks like Freddy fucking Krueger. And we also get cum faces and Gandalf. So really, everything you could ask for in a Shakespearean adaptation. The other big issue regarding this show is that they decided to tell this 2.5 hour long play in just 25 minutes, coming off as more of a Cliff Notes version of Macbeth rather than an actual adaptation. And I want all of you to keep in mind, I have never seen Macbeth, never read it, or am aware with really any other adaptation outside of the one that I watched for this video because I thought it'd be fucking funny, okay? So, having to see this very condensed version just feels kind of silly, especially when you realize that these types of condensed animated versions of popular tales in the public domain are usually aimed towards children. This show is very much not, because it still does have all of the darker elements of the original story and it gets very gory. So why tell an abridged version of the story? Especially when BBC doesn't really have commercials.
New kitchen gun!
Was it because of the budget? Did they simply just not have the money to tell the full story? Because the other episodes of this show are also 20 minutes, as opposed to being the length of the play or even 40 minutes. But hey, at least some of those episodes have the benefits of decent animation. And honestly, with this episode being so damn condensed, it was basically impossible for me to follow the story, outside of the basic necessities that I already knew about the play going in. And I just want to be clear, you know for a fact that you did a bad job at adapting a story when the audience needs to look up the plot summary on Google in order to understand what's going on. Macbeth, Shakespeare the Animated Tales, just fucking look at it, guys. This had so much potential to be awesome, but it just missed the mark. It needed good animation. It needed a longer running time. It needed characters I actually give a shit about. So yeah, Shakespeare, the Animated Tales, in particular this episode on Macbeth, it fucking sucks. The animation is horrible and inconsistent, with their faces constantly disappearing. The voice acting is very mid, and it's stupidly rushed. There's very little to enjoy out of this as an adaptation, especially if, like me, this was your introduction to the story. Not the funnest time. But anyway, guys, that will be it for this video. What do you guys think of it? Please let me know down in the comments below. And also, should I look at some of the remaining episodes on like Romeo and Juliet and Julius Caesar and all that other shit? It might be fun, who knows? But please let me know down in the comments below. But until then, I will see you later. Bye.